perspectives in human geography, I would say that it is key to scoring 300 plus marks in geography. I have seen that majority of students who did well, who actually scored here this type of marks, one common feature among all of them was that in perspectives in human geography they were all good. Okay, so that is basically the case of perspectives. Now perspective ki kahani you know very well, the story of perspective, that it is a bit of difficult topic, and difficulty in this topic arises mainly, anybody who is not getting the video in the app, please refresh, then it will come. I think refresh kar lo, it would be okay, because others are getting. Okay, so perspectives से दो तीन चीजें होती हैं. What is the help that perspective gives? One important thing that perspectives in human geography gives me, the vocabulary of geography. So at many places we can use the concepts like determinism, concepts like environmental determinism, environmentalism, several humanistic concepts that we'll learn, like sense of place, etc., etc., authentic attitude, inauthentic attitude. Okay, so that is basically what it gives us. So vocabulary is one thing, and I have seen many students, when I tell them, they would use lots of terms, terminologies which are given in perspective, they would like to relate every time with perspectives. So that is one thing, but it is not the only thing that perspective gives us. More importantly, perspective gives us what, जो इसका नाम है, it is very true to itself, and it gives us perspectives of geography. And what is the help of this perspectives of geography? It helps us to interpret the demand of the questions. Demand of the questions. So if you can be good in perspectives in human geography, one thing can be sure, that reading and comprehending the questions would become comparatively easier for you. That is the best part of perspectives in human geography, and that is why I always say, despite the difficult nature of this topic, despite highly philosophical nature of this topic, you should not be leaving this topic. You have to do well in this topic. Okay, so that is basically one thing that you have to understand. Then sources की बात भी कर लेते हैं. What are the sources of study which we can do? As you know, there are 3 books. One is Majid Hussain book, Geographical Thoughts. One is Subdipta Adhikari. Other one, if you talk about, is R.D. Dikshit. So there are 3 books which you can go through. And what is the pros of Majid Hussain? Pros of Majid Hussain book is simple language. Cons, it is definitely the contemporary part not covered, and conceptually it is shallow. Conceptually it is shallow. that is one thing. This is the pros and cons of Majid Hussain book. So from my side, I wouldn't recommend Majid Hussain Geographical Thoughts. Then coming to Sudipta Adhikari book, pros is, it is conceptually very good. Conceptually, it is very good book. Some topics are specifically very well given, like if you have to suppose study particularly the dichotomy and dualism topic, directly by the name dichotomy dualism is not given, but it is given. Concepts are well explained. Similarly, other topic like areal differentiation, the regional geography part is not given. Okay, wait, I am telling them to upload the PDF in the WhatsApp. इसलिए नहीं डाउनलोड हो रहा होगा PDF बिकॉज स्टिल यू हैवंट अपडेटेड द वर्जन. कितनी बार मैंने क्लास में बोला अपडेट योर वर्जन ऑफ द ऐप. यू हैव टू क्लियर द कैश, अपडेट करना है. दैट इज इफ टिल यू डोंट डू यू विल फेस प्रॉब्लम. ओके, so areal differentiation, regional geography part, it is well given. So that is the pros of this book. But cons is basically what here also the contemporary not well discussed or not even covered also in many cases, and the difficult language. It is very difficult language has been used in the book. सो एक पेज पढ़ने में अगर तुम्हें नॉर्मली 10 मिनट लगते हैं तो इसका एक पेज पढ़ने में एंड समझने में 15 से 20 मिनट लग जाएंगे. सो दैट इज द डिफरेंस. आर.डी. दीक्षित, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट कंपैरेटिवली, प्रोस क्या है? इट हैज़ ऑलमोस्ट फुल कवरेज ऑफ व्हाट वी नीड सिलेबस वाइज. सो इट कवर्स ऑल द पार्ट्स. एंड अदर इज इट इज डिसेंट with respect to concepts. So concept wise it is decent book. What is the con of this book? Again it is the comprehensiveness. Is missing, and comprehensiveness particularly in the topics which are given, they are not very comprehensively discussed. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द प्रोस एंड कॉन्स ऑफ ईच ऑफ दीज बुक्स. आई वुड ऑल्सो नॉट रिकमेंड सुदीप्ता अधिकारी. आई वुड रिकमेंड यू टू गो इफ यू हैव टू रीड एनी बुक फॉर दिस टॉपिक, बिकॉज कुछ लोगों को है कि बुक के बिना नींद नहीं आती. सो इफ यू स्टिल हैव टू रीड अ बुक फॉर दिस टॉपिक, you will be going through R.D. Dikshit. Someone is asking in YouTube that what is 500 plus? 500 plus is a very successful program which has given lots of results in the past few years. Very good results in geography. ठीक है, तो मुझसे पूछोगे तो मैं तारीफ ही करूँगा 500 प्लस की. But it is a way through which we cover the whole syllabus through question and answers. ठीक है. सो दैट इज R.D. दीक्षित की स्टोरी है. अब इन सब से अगर थोड़ा सा अनट्रेडिशनल बनो तो इट इज वेयर ऑल दीज प्रॉब्लम्स यू विल नॉट बी फाइंडिंग. इट इज द गाइडेंस IAS नोट्स. और हैंड रिटन जो नोट्स मार्केट में अवेलेबल हैं उसमें यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दे आर 300 प्लस पेजेस की बुकलेट है वो. एंड इट इज़ वेरी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव, वेरी लूसिडली, क्योंकि वो पूरा का पूरा नोट्स मेरा डिक्टेशन है, इन बुक्स की तरह नहीं है. इट इज़ नॉट लाइक दीज बुक्स व्हाट दे डू, दे कट एंड पेस्ट फ्रॉम द फॉरेन ऑथर्स. द नोट्स विच आर देयर, दे आई हैव डिक्टेटेड देम and dictated my mind in the class what I understand thoughts like. ठीक है. So it is very lucid, simplified. Coverage wise you will be finding what is required for our examination. The coverage is much more in detail than any of these books what we require for our examination. ठीक है. So if you take my suggestion, it is very simple. You have to go through these notes and your problem of perspective would be solved. If you still feel that you have to study book because some teachers have recommended, if you talk about some students would have recommended, my suggestion is simple, and my suggestion is always follow a reverse approach. So what is this reverse approach? Reverse approach बहुत simple है, and reverse approach is first you go through the notes and then you go to the book. First notes and then books. ठीक है? So if you do so, already what will happen? Your mind has a framework of the topics. You already know what is relevant and what is not relevant for the examination. Then reading the book would become easy. All the redundant information which is given in the books, you will be easily able to filter out. Okay, so always follow this approach of if you talk about study. So यहाँ पर भी ये follow कर सकते हो. If you still want after the notes, then you can go through R.D. Dixit. But my suggestion is first go through the notes. ठीक है? Or once you go through the notes, you will yourself see that there will not be need to read the book. ठीक है? So that is the case. अब मैंने ये गाइडेंस नोट्स के बारे में बोला है. ऑब्वियस सी बात है, मैं गाइडेंस का टीचर हूँ, and so I will say good things about guidance. So there must be mind में कुछ आएगा, resonance, why he is saying this, and maybe he is just promoting. So if you feel like this, if you have any suspicion, any scientific minded person would do what? He would test the validity of the facts. ठीक है? So if you have any doubt, notes को मंगाओ, उसमें दिया हुआ जो भी चैप्टर, कोई भी एक चैप्टर उठाओ, and you read that chapter from the notes, then you read that chapter from the books. ठीक है? अगर बुक में वैसा दिया होगा तो आई विल टेक माई स्टेटमेंट बैक, एंड मैं इसके बाद कभी रिकमेंड नहीं करूंगा कि गाइडेंस के नोट्स पढ़ो.